I don't, because I don't want to remember. I'm going to change it. I put not remember. It's really you put it to something easy like a big key. Of course not. Or else connected.
It's connected.
No. Figure something else. I don't know. How is it now? Show you, no, you're showing your glasses.
Me too. We're already live. I'm waiting for Dr. Banji. Hello. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello, BPW Lekki. Hello, Dr. Banji.
Hi. It's a pleasure
Hi.
it's a pleasure to be here.
So we're just waiting for a few more people to come in. I think I can see some people coming in. Hello, everybody. So this is my first IG live, like I've been saying. I can't believe I've actually succumbed to the pressures of doing an IG live. And I hope it's going to be interesting for everybody, out there. So I think if we could just jump right into it. I was about to pull up your profile, Dr. Banji. Dr. Banji has been working with providing services to us at Health Boxes now since inception. But he has over 15 years experience as a psychiatrist and also working as the lead consultant psychiatrist with Mind. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Okay, is there anything else you want to add to that brief bio?
Oh, well, that I've been trying to get people to take their mental health seriously for a long time, even when I did not know anything about what mental health was going to be like.
Yes, I think as Nigerians, we are not very focused, or we don't even know what mental health is about. Immediately we say mental health, most people just think, Yaba left. Actually, whenever I say mental health to anybody, they just say Yaba left, which obviously that is at the extreme end of the spectrum. And there are other things that we can be doing so that we actually don't get to the extreme end of the spectrum.
That is very true.
Yes. Hello, Junita. Thanks for joining. So I would just dive right into the first question. So this week we've been talking about emotional pain and suffering. So if you could just tell us a bit more about that, so that our listeners could learn more and obviously be aware about what it really means.
So emotional pain just basically means an unpleasant feeling that comes from psychological, emotional, or shall we say non-physical experiences or circumstances. And so there are degrees to this. So there's emotional pain, then there's suffering when it has been on for a while. And of course, it tends to impact mental health like every other thing that is emotional and psychological.
Yes. So can you give us some examples?
Okay, so for instance, we could start from COVID-19 actually.
Yes,
COVID-19 has caused a lot of emotional pain for quite a number of people, from the people who've lost loved ones to those who've had losses of jobs. And then for those who've just been hemmed in and under lockdown, some of us have just come out of a 3-month lockdown. Some countries are still on a lockdown of over 6 months. Some people are planning not to even ever leave their houses until the end of 2020. And so those are some of the things. And then, of course, there's usual divorce, relationship issues, loss of a spouse, loss of money. You can imagine the 1.9 million victims of hush puppy, how they're feeling and all that. So those are some of the circumstances that we're talking about.
Okay, thank you very much for that elaboration. Anybody that has any questions, please feel free to type the questions in. And if you have specific questions for Dr. Banji to answer, he's here to answer some of these questions relating to this topic. So how then does it then now relate to mental health, emotional pain?
Okay. So basically what your mental health is your mind's capacity to deal with the usual issues of life. So that's what makes up your total mental health. And so when you have something that is causing a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, it taxes the capacity of your mental health to deal with it. So for instance, someone who's lost a job, the first instance of the loss might not be as painful, but with time, it just takes a matter of time for you to start to imagine, oh, if I had my job, and then imagine if you were married and had children. Okay, your children are not paying school fees right now, but because of COVID-19, they're in the house a lot, so you have to pay fees, you have to make sure things are working, your data cannot stop, internet cannot go off, and these bills are piling. And so as this pain increases, it begins to tax your mental health. So it's not everybody that is going to go through emotional pain that will have a mental illness, but we're saying that the pain itself already reduces your quality of life. It reduces your ability to be happy. It reduces your ability to respond to just things that happen in life. So even without a diagnosis of mental illness, people that are going through pain tend to be more irritable, tend to be more anxious. They might not have full-blown anxiety, but they tend to be more under stress and all the issues that stress has on the body. Then if you now happen to be predisposed to a mental health issue, definitely emotional pain will trigger anxiety, will trigger depression, will trigger schizophrenia, and will definitely trigger, if you had an addiction issue and you were trying to deal with it, then it definitely will trigger that. So those are some of the effects.
Some of the effects. So what if you elaborate a little bit more on mental health? So I know we touched on it at the beginning, or just with reference to it being at the extreme end of the spectrum. So if you could just give us in a nutshell, what is mental health and why it's an issue? I mean, everybody understands the physical health side of things.
Yes, the physical health. So basically, your mental health is your mind, that is your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts, and then a part of it is also your will. And so basically, your mental health is your brain and your mind's capacity to deal with the normal issues of life. So for instance, if you've lived in Lagos, Nigeria for a while, your mental health has been taxed with traffic and the issues of potholes, if you mistakenly own a car and all those other issues. So each day through life, your mental health has been taxed because you have issues to deal with. Everyone has issues. And so somebody saying that even Dangote is looking for money. So you understand that you will always have these issues. And your mental health is your an illness. Okay, so
hello, Banji, I think you're buffering a bit there.
yes, I was wondering.
Yes.
Am I fine now?
Yes, we can hear you clearly now.
Okay. So I was saying that your body's capacity to deal with life's issues basically makes up your mental health. So how do you think when something good happens? How do you think when something bad happens? How do you deal with stress of life, normal life? And then how do you deal when something serious really happens? So everybody's
Mm.
mental health was taxed during COVID when the lockdown
Yes.
started. So some people were like, it's going to end in the next few days. Don't worry, Corona is going to end very, very soon. Some of us
Yes.
actually had tickets to travel to watch Formula One. And we were like, no, fingers crossed, it's going to happen. But as the weeks turned to months,
Yeah.
then people's mental health was being strained. Now, not everybody liked it. Hello, Lola.
Yes, I can hear
Hello.
you now.
So can we stop this
Hello?
my
Yes,
phone?
this is, I'm sure. Hello? Sorry, Banji.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, I'm sure our listeners are used to the Nigerian
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Nigerian network, and we can't. There's nothing we can control that. So that in itself is putting you and I in a little stressful situation right now, because
Right,
we're aware
definitely.
that people that people want to listen to what it is that we have to say. So this is a
Mm-hmm.
minor stress in which could be a
Yeah.
pile up
Mm-hmm.
to our day, for example. So, but anyway, I digress. You were
Okay.
talking about um, the mental health and COVID-19 and how it's
Mm.
as an example of a mental stress.
Yes. Okay, so what I was basically saying is your mental health is your capacity to deal with life and whatever life throws at you. And so your thoughts, your emotions, and your will to do stuff and to get things done, no matter what life is throwing at you. So all
Okay.
of that added together. So when the person says, so how do I measure how well my mental health is or how strong I am? And I tell them, how have you coped with stressful situations in life? Please remember that you coped well does not mean your mental health was not taxed.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello,
So I
Lola?
think, hello, we can hear you. So I'm agreeing
Mm-hmm.
with you there because I know a lot of people do not actually understand
Yeah,
that particular fact that yes, you're fine, but at that point in time, you
yeah.
are stressed. It could be for an hour, it could be for a minute or
Mm,
for 2 minutes, but at that point, you had
mm,
a mental stressor being applied to you.
yeah, yeah. And so we're saying that your mental health is constantly either being improved or being depleted on every single day. And so, depending on your capacity and your stores,
Sorry, Banji, you're going to have to repeat that. So I'll tell everybody here. Today is, like I said, is my first IG live. While we're waiting for Dr. Banji to come back on, today, like I said, is my first IG live, and I got home, and for the first time in like I can remember, there was no internet. So when I'm beginning to start to get stressed, um, and um, yes, because I think maybe that's why we in Nigeria say the people say that we're part of the happiest people on earth because we're always laughing, always joking, even in these stressful situations that we find ourselves all the time. Let me just see if Dr. Banji is back in again, so I can add him to the call. Okay. So we're just waiting for him. We have. So hello, Banji.
Hello, Banji.
Hi.
Hi. So maybe this is this is just to help people understand what mental health is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've been planning this now for whole of today. And then I got home and then there was no internet. So luckily my neighbor has internet. I've come to her house. I've taken over her dining room.
Whoa.
So yes. So but we have a question.
Okay.
From AG_B20.
Okay.
Asking how do we know if we're coping well
Okay.
with the mental health stress?
So there are many symptoms of stress or that telltale signs when your mental health capacity is being stretched. And the first one I know of is sleep. And it is that when someone is under a lot of strain, even when they're not conscious of it, so the first thing that goes is the quality of your sleep. You might be sleeping well, you might be sleeping 8 hours, but you don't feel refreshed when you get up in the morning. Then the next thing is your energy levels. Then the next thing after that is how long can you keep your concentration for? So for instance, if you are given a task, how long does it take before you start to wander off in your mind? So there are different signs and symptoms of the fact that you are under a lot more stress than usual. And so those are the things to watch out for. And then, of course, being more irritable. I remember that every time I used to travel, I called it travel. And I would go from the mainland to the island, and I'll come back. If I ever made the mistake of coming back at around 4 or when the peak of traffic was, anytime I got back home, the first 30 minutes I had to lock myself in a room because immediately after I would become highly irritable. And those were some of the signs of stress. Yes.
So are there any other that people can keep an eye on?
Okay. So now there are specific symptoms of other shall we say mental health issues. One is anxiety, which is that when a person starts to feel fearful and unusually worried. Sometimes there's a specific reason why you're worried, but most times there's just there's nothing to really get you worried, but you're just in this state of fear and apprehension and worry, and it's just there at the back of your mind. Another one is for depression would be that you just become unusually sad and you just can't shake it off and it's just there. And of course, if you notice that you have to use more of, if you happen to use alcohol or you happen to smoke and you notice that you're having to use a lot more to get that general feeling of being well, then those are some of the signs.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
So in the instance that we as Nigerians, sorry, there's a bit of an echo. I don't know if I'm only one hearing it.
Okay. From my end?
Okay, it's gone off.
Okay.
No, it hasn't.
Oh, it's still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yes, I can hear it. I just heard it just now.
Okay, so maybe it's just on my end. I'll try and ignore it. So, as Nigerians,
yeah,
in our communities, how then do we start to pick out people or notice people in our environment, our close family, our friends are under stress? What should you look out for?
Okay, so here's the thing with stress and with emotional issues is that before others get to know, it's usually been on for a while.
Yeah.
It's usually been on for a while. Because as human beings, we learn to bottle up a lot and we tend to keep things in check. We try and watch ourselves and make sure that nobody notices anything unusual. But the first thing that I tell people to look out for is listen to when they talk. Look at their non-verbal cues. When you notice a person who normally will sit and look at you, maintain eye contact while talking, and all of a sudden the same person is the one who is looking right and back and left, even while you're just having a normal conversation. If you notice a person's statements tend to be like, this life, and that usually would not happen. So it's usually a change in the person's personality, and it usually starts from their ways of communicating. You just check their words, check the pace of their words. Most people who listen to people who've been under a lot of strain will tell you that the first thing they notice is the energy behind their voices go down. And that's one of the first things. Then the other thing you can look out for is when a person becomes totally unlike themselves. So I know someone who's very quiet, very gentle, very shy. Suddenly that person becomes gregarious, going around, extroverted, being the life of the party. And you need to check there's something up going on. And if especially if it's sustained, it's not like that they won $1 million and of course they won $1 million, my personality would change. So, but if you notice a change in personality, those are some of the things to notice. And then sometimes some people reach out for help, but people don't notice it.
Exactly.
So for instance, someone would not call you or would not send messages, sends you a message, and it's out of the blues. So those are some of the things that you can pick up and you're like, no, this is not typical for this person. This person would not, for instance, there's someone who called me 18 times, 18 missed calls. So, I was like, no, this is not normal. There's something wrong here. And I knew I had to reach out and talk to the person. It was just typical panic disorder. The person was anxious and all that. And we talked about it and he was able to come out of that phase. So, yes, so those are some of the things you pick on. And if you don't pick on it, don't beat yourself over the head, because I know quite a number of relatives who say, oh, but why didn't we notice? Why didn't we do something earlier? And I'm like, truth be told, he wasn't going to talk about it until now. So the person actually tried to attempted suicide and they were like, but we didn't see signs, we didn't see anything. And I'm like, look, honestly, most times the person is just dealing with internal problems and reaching out for help is just not something they want to do.
So how then, if you want to provide some help, how do you do it? Because we don't have a culture of talking about problems.
Yeah.
And nobody also wants to say or even use the word mental in anything.
Okay, so first, I don't use the word mental.
Okay.
Regularly. So it's not something that you want to talk about or bandy about. But I think the first thing is to be willing to listen. So a person is going through something. The first thing they're thinking about is, I don't want to be judged. I don't want people looking at me funny. And of course, I don't want my story to go round.
Exactly.
Which is a very, very, very pertinent issue. So first, the person just wants a person that is open, a person that is willing to listen, and a person they can be vulnerable with and still know this guy is not, or this lady is not going to look down on me and say, okay, in my darkest hour or my weakest moment, this person was there for me and did not judge me. Because if there's anything I try and tell people to stop saying is snap out of it. It's not a big deal. What's your problem? Are you the only one? Pandemic is all over Africa, is all over the world. What's your problem? And the truth is, like we're talking about mental health, we all have different capacities based on how we were raised, based on our circumstances, and based on what we were going through before COVID hit. Because for some people, I mean, for some of my clients that I'm treating for anxiety disorders, they're like, doctor, this is a fine time. Everybody's anxious like me now. Everybody's like me now. Hey, it's a good time. It's a good time. I'm not the only one going through this. And I'm like, so are you saying your anxiety has not picked? They're like, no, they're not worried. They're like, I'm not extra worried. I'm always worried. So it's not a big deal. So those are some of the things that you can do. Be open, be willing to listen, and don't give answers if you're not sure. Don't be quick to say it's a spiritual problem. Or don't be quick to say, you don't have faith. That's why this is happening. I can't count the number of my clients whose situation worsened because a spiritual leader offered up what they thought was tough love.
Wow.
But that's not what was needed at that moment in time.
We put in a group of about 13 children ranging from ages 14 to 20. And the feedback they gave us is that they can't talk to their parents about anything that they're dealing with that has to do with the stress.
Yeah.
And a lot of them kept saying, they will just take you to church. I tell you to pray about it.
Yeah.
So of course that also goes to us. We are not brought up to understand about our mental state. So as parents, what would you suggest that we do?
First, I would tell the parents to get educated. Go and learn. I have a 3-year-old, and she told me one night, Daddy, I'm sad.
I had that.
So now, before, if I was growing up with my mother's playbook, that would be a playbook. That would be a rationale for us to do vigil that night. In fact, she will fast till 12 the next day. And I asked her, so, baby, what are you sad about? And it was about a video. She was watching a video, and she didn't like the way the character was being treated. So she was like, Daddy, I'm sad. And I'm like, please, baby, don't tell Daddy you're sad next time. Just tell Daddy, I don't like this. Say, I don't like what they're doing. You see, those words sad. I don't know where you got it from. Where does a 3-year-old get the word sad from? So, but we need to get educated. We need to learn. And we need to know that quite a number of us are repeating the playbooks of our parents subconsciously. So most of us actually learned parenting not from a book, but from what we saw. And I'm sorry to tell you, most Nigerian parents don't understand what parenting is about. Some of them mistakenly do the right things, but most of them don't know what parenting is about. So go and learn. Then number 2 is be willing to look ignorant. So when your teenager uses abbreviations that you've never heard before, ask them, what does it mean? And don't be saying, no, you don't talk like that. Proper people speak correct sentences and use full words so be willing to learn from them. And then most importantly, be willing to consider therapy sometimes. And therapy does not mean you're going to sit on a couch and somebody's going to tell you, so how was your baby? How was your life as a womb when you were in the womb? That's not what therapy is. Therapy is you sitting down with a person, and your teenager is going to sit down with a therapist and talk, and you're not going to be there. And certain things will be said that will come to your sessions. I've had 14-year-olds, I've had 13-year-olds. And I mean, some of them and their parents are like, are they crazy? Why are they sad? And I'm like, okay, you can't be using the word crazy. Your 13-year-old has been depressed since she was 8.
Yeah.
And you think there is no big deal. But I mean, this and this and this and this and this and this. And she's like, and the guy is like, look, when I was a child, I received worse. And I'm like, but we're supposed to be the better generation. So do better than your parents did. It's just important. And so be willing to to listen to them talk. And then, of course, finally, please, please, and please, if you don't know what you're dealing with and you don't understand, ask someone who knows and they can guide you. Because I've had teenagers who wanted to have discussions with their mom, start talking about it, and their mom went into prayer sessions, and that was the end.
That was the end.
That was the end. They just closed up and started doing all those online chats and sharing K-pop videos and all those funny things. And it made it worse. It actually made it worse.
So would you say that social media or access to the internet is making people more aware of their mental health, or is it bringing in more stresses?
Okay, funny enough, there's a video I watched on Instagram today, Simon Sinek and some other guys talking about the fact that smartphones make us stupid. And the truth is, social media was built to be addictive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are people that have come out of Facebook, people that have come out of Instagram that said the algorithm is designed to keep you coming. Yeah. And so when you have teenagers, they definitely will have issues, because anything that causes an addiction affects your mental health, because it distorts reality. Yeah. It distorts what friendship means. I mean, how can you tell me you have 5,000 friends on Facebook? They're not friends. They're just acquaintances. You can't be telling me you're friends on Facebook. At the best. Yeah. So social media is a blessing and a curse at the same time. So for teenagers, I tell them, you need to go on breaks from social media, because it has been confirmed. Instagram increases your anxiety. It does. Because you post something and you're checking who's liked it. How many of my friends have seen it? How many of them love it? How many of them have commented? And then how many of them have shared it? And it's a cycle that never ends, because you're constantly being in a cycle of fear. Will they accept me? Will they not? Will they accept me? Will they not? And it's a problem. So, but it's also a blessing, because Google has made all information available.
Yes, it has.
So there are YouTube videos on therapy, so that people can actually watch videos and see what therapy is supposed to be about. And so it's a blessing and a curse, but all in all, I'll say it's a blessing, as long as you're able to watch yourself, watch your children, and ensure that they limit access. It's important. Everybody needs to limit access from time to time.
That's. I don't even think it's only for teenagers now.
No, it's adults. Even adults. I mean,
even adults.
I can't count the number of times my wife has threatened to chase me out of the house because of WhatsApp.
Okay, so in the instance where you have a person that has emotional pain situations or into an abusive relationship, or what has a mother that doesn't want to listen, by going straight into the spiritual and not dealing with the realities. So for me, spirituality has a place, but it is better and becomes more informed if you have a background information. So if you're not listening, then how are you going to inform on your prayers or direct it? So I mean that's. I just thought I should throw that in there. So if you for people that are currently in emotionally painful environments or relationships, what would you advise?
First, I would say, if the cause of your pain is known, And if there is something you can do to physically distance yourself from that source, the first thing you need to do is move away from there.
Okay.
Okay. So if it's a toxic relationship, I know a lady who's talked with me most times, and all her boyfriend talks about is the way she dresses. Every
Wow.
time. And it destroys her self-esteem. It does. She's not anxious. She doesn't have any mental illness issue. But the truth is, she has a very low self-esteem. And the first thing I told her is, you're going to find it very difficult to break this relationship, but you need some space to heal. Because as long as whatever you're trying to do to get better keeps being undermined by this person, you will never get healing. And then, of course, we found out that it had actually been a pattern. She had been choosing guys like that over the years because she had a bad relationship with her dad, daddy issues, that kind of thing. Okay. So if it is possible to get yourself out of that environment, please get yourself out. If it is not, for instance, if you are living with a parent who just doesn't get it and is abusive, verbally abusive and all that, and you can't leave, for instance, if you're in a lockdown and you cannot leave and go somewhere else, the first thing I will tell you to do is first embrace your pain. And that is a very difficult thing for people to do because most people are in denial about it. That's the first thing. They're like, no, it's not his fault. He didn't really mean it. He loves me, but, and they give excuses, find all the excuses in the world. So the second thing to do after, if you could leave, is to embrace the pain. And what to embrace the pain is, the pain is trying to teach you something, and you need to go into it to learn. So if someone hurts you and the person is making you feel bad about yourself, it's a testament not to just the person's hurtfulness and wickedness. It's also a testament to you as a person. Why is this person in your life? How come this person was attracted to you and you allowed the person in? So there are things you need to learn about yourself that you must have these honest conversations about. So the first thing is embrace your pain. It's not a curse. It's not that somebody's doing you in the village. It's just it's just something that you need to embrace. After you've embraced the pain, I would say talk to someone that you trust to help you decipher what the issues are. Because until you know what the problem is, you will keep repeating the cycle. Like I talked about the young lady before. She had low self-esteem, and so she always dressed in a way to attract a certain kind of person. And I told her, what if you wore long jumpers and old, those turtleneck sweaters and long skirts? Would you be comfortable wearing that? And she said, Levi, I can't wear that. And I'm like, why? Is it because you want someone to be attracted to how you dress or to be attracted to you as a person? And honestly, she could not tell me if she really liked herself. And so you need to talk to someone. So it does not have to necessarily be a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a therapist, but you need to talk to someone after you've dealt with the pain, because after you've embraced the pain, endured it, understood what it is trying to teach you, then you can have conversations. But when you're still in the stage of denial, anger, and depression, you can't talk about it. You'll just be ranting or venting.
Yes.
That's the truth. So that's the truth. So then number 4, after you've talked about it, identified what the issues are going forward, then you can now start to do things that help rebuild your mental health. Because like I said, everything is dealing with your mental health. You are, like we say, it's like a bank account. You are constantly making withdrawals. And you need to deposit back into your mental health. So the things that I would suggest is get yourself into an environment or a relationship with people who affirm you and like you for you. Might not be easy at first, but you will find. You will definitely, everybody has a tribe, you will find your tribe. It just takes time. And then being willing to accept that, look, this is me, and I am not going to allow anybody make me feel less than me. Because that's the problem. Some people go into places where it's now we and all that. But truth is, you don't feel secure there. You don't feel affirmed there. So then the next after that is to do exercises, because exercise is a natural anti-stress thing. I don't call it anti-stress drug or anti-stress therapy, but exercise helps. And exercise helps because there's one exercise that helps with your mental health, and that is walking, because it helps you think and meditate on the things that you're going through. Then other options are yoga, mindfulness, which is very important in these days, because like I was talking about mental health, that when your mental health is getting depleted, you're starting yourself forgetting, not concentrating. 90% of Nigerian drivers are not concentrating. Sorry, 99% of Lagos drivers don't concentrate. Because honestly, most of them get involved in accidents that were totally avoidable. Totally. So mindfulness basically means that you are present here, nowhere else. I'm not thinking about what is going to happen after now. I know I have a meeting at 8:30, but that's not what's on my mind. I am here with Lola, talking here. I'm here. My thoughts are not about, my fire, the beans, things like that. So mindfulness helps you concentrate on here and now. And it helps you deal with whatever the issues may be. And then any other thing that helps. Some people say praying helps. I totally subscribe to praying, because I believe that prayer by faith will not the prayer that increases your anxiety. Not the I shall not be mentioning the prayer points. But truth be told, there are certain places you go for a prayer session and you leave more stressed than you came. That's the truth. And so, but there are certain people that are designed for those kind of places. They have fun in those kind of sessions. So you need to be truthful to yourself to know. Then there's something that researchers found that works for Catholics, and it is confession. Which is actually therapy for free.
For free.
It's free therapy. It's actually free therapy, and it works because sometimes we carry some of our deepest secrets that we don't even want to tell any other person. And this person is bound by law not to share it with anybody. So if you are not a Catholic, I would definitely say have confession sessions, because the Bible actually says confess your sins one to another.
Yes, it does.
It actually helps. And so spiritual exercises work, but they have to be done to affirm, not to judge, not to increase your fear or to make you more suspicious. Those are the things I will not agree with.
Okay. So in a nutshell, so we just cut the steps.
So the steps are: number one, avoid. Get yourself away from the situation if it is avoidable.
Okay.
Two. If you cannot. Number two, embrace the pain.
Oh, you were going to say you cannot remove yourself.
No, so if you cannot remove yourself, just protect yourself as much as you can. So for instance, I know people who grew up with toxic parents, where their father and mother would say some horrible words out of anger. And what they do is they know the situations that trigger those experiences, so they avoid them. So I grew up with a great uncle in Ibadan. As soon as his horn is at the gate, I'm not joking.
That's my father.
Okay. I'm not.
So we were trained.
As soon as my great uncle presses his horn, in fact, the driver is in on the game. He presses the horn in a particular way so that all the children know. Guys are. So there are like 10 of us in the living room. As soon as the horn is pressed, everybody takes off. And I'm the only one left in the living room. So when he comes in, I greet him, then he goes, want to salon. He enjoyed it. Lola, he enjoyed the fear.
Wow. I wouldn't say my father enjoyed it.
So I'm sure your dad didn't enjoy it. So he enjoyed the fear. He enjoyed people, they're afraid of me. And he always used to look at me funny. He said, okay, you are like your father because your father also never used to be afraid of me. I wasn't taught to fear anybody.
Exactly.
Yes. So if you kind of avoid as much as possible those scenarios that cause the talk and the problems, avoid them. Then secondly is embrace the pain, because until you embrace the pain, you really wouldn't know what you're dealing with. It's like you're a pharmacist by training, so you know that headaches are symptoms. They are not the real thing.
They're not the real thing.
So the pain you feel is not the real thing. There is a real thing at the back of it all. And you need to find it by embracing it. Some people will never embrace their pain until after 10 years. I think that's too long. But I think you need time to embrace it. So after you embrace the pain, talk to someone who can be there for you and can break these things down. Then after you have done that, heal. And you heal by exercise, finding your tribe, finding people who like you for you and who pour into you and make you feel better about yourself. And you are also doing the same for them so that it's not a parasitic thing. And then finally, whatever else, spiritual exercises, mindfulness, yoga, anything you need to replenish what has gone. Because when a person has been through pain, I feel, and it's documented fact, it is more stressful on the entire body than a person who's done manual labor.
Yes.
Because emotional stress. I know someone who had a toxic boss. As soon as she enters the office, her hands start to shake. She has tremors. So, I mean, that's how bad it can be. So, and when you go through that over and over again for years, you've depleted a lot of stores and you just need to replace them back. And then finally is confession. If you can find someone whom you can trust, or if you cannot, find someone to tell your deepest, darkest secrets. It can be very helpful.
So, I think we've come to the end of the session.
Wow, 1 hour already. Thank you.
No, it's not quite 1 hour. We were hoping we would have questions from people in between.
Yeah.
But of course, we didn't market it in time. We didn't let people know. So
I would like to acknowledge those who came. So we
appreciate we appreciate those who came. We appreciate you. And this will be the first in the series. My motivation is because I found out in the 2 years we've been running this telemedicine service with health boxes, is that there's a lot of assumptions about healthcare and diseases and illnesses, as we as medical professionals have assumed that people know. But by the time they start to call, I'm like,
yeah, there's a lot of ignorance.
You know this? Yeah, so I'm hoping this would help. With that sort of thing. People will start to understand more about their health and be able to take ownership of their health and make decisions about health, and of course also remove stigma if possible.
Very important. If there's anything that I want to say, it is that I really, 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 really would like everybody to just understand. Mental health, like physical health, just needs people to accept the person. No matter how bad. I mean, I've seen people who walked in stark naked off the streets, kept rejoined back to family, where the family had already thought they were dead and had been looking for them for years. And they were assimilated back, and in a few years' time, nobody could even remember. So anybody can heal from this, no matter how bad the worst kind can recover. And so the stigma just comes from a lot of ignorance, a lot of culture, and a lot of religion. Let me put them in asterisk, in commas, inverted commas, religion. And so we need everybody to just play their part in getting people to be willing to talk and not get judged. It's just not fair when a person is going through a lot of pain and then they talk about it, and the first thing somebody says is, what's Yahweh? That's just not done. It's just not fair.
So thank you so much. Dr. Banji. I love the analogy of the fact that if there's emotional pain, for you to be feeling that pain, there's something behind it that needs to be dealt with.
We all must embrace our pain.
Yes. So on that note, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for everybody watching, if you would like to speak to Dr. Banji, please let us know. We'll put you in touch. Take care and have a wonderful evening.
Stay safe. Be good. Take care of yourself. Bye.
Bye everybody. Bye.
Bye.